All 17 GOP candidates back to business this morning following the first Republican debates. The first debate saw all 7 candidates put aside the banter and mostly stick to the issues. George Pataki saying he delivered in a blue state as governor of New York and can do the same in the White House. Governor Pataki joins us right now. Governor, good to have you on the program. Welcome.
Good morning, Maria. Nice being on with you.
Congratulations to you, fresh off of your debate on Thursday. What was your takeaway from the debate?
Thank you. First, I'm very pleased that for the first time the American people got to hear from me, and the reaction I've gotten is very good. And I think all in all, most of the candidates did very well. But I kept asking myself, they have ideas. How are they going to get it done? And you started out, Maria. I got it done in a blue state. I got it done with a 2-to-1 Democratic House. And it seems to me, regardless of who controls Congress, nothing seems to change. I can change things in Washington, and that's what the American people want.
So let's talk about what needs to be changed and the real important issues to American voters today. Jobs, the economy, front and center, race. When you look at the economy and race, these are the 2 issues that are resonating across the country, as well as, of course, foreign policy. What are your solutions to creating jobs, Governor?
Well, Maria, I think you're right. It's about jobs, and it's about protecting the American people in a dangerous world. On jobs, we have to throw out a corrupt tax code and lower the tax burden. The rich and powerful have all these exemptions and loopholes and credits. They have got to go, and we have to lower the taxes on working Americans. I know I can do that. When I was governor with a Democratic House, I reduced taxes by more than the other 49 states combined. And the second thing we have to do is protect Americans. Just as one example, we do not bow down to radical Islam anywhere. Our Marines shouldn't be taking off their uniforms. They should be putting on their guns. And we have to be proactive to protect us against ISIS. You know, Maria, I was governor on September 11th. I saw the horror of radical Islam firsthand. I'm not going to sit back and be passive when this threat continues to grow.
So I want to get back to the economy in a moment, but we're on foreign policy right now. Let's stay there. What are the solutions to defeating ISIS then?
Well, there's 2 solutions. First of all, do not let them to have access to any media here in America. The idea that they are recruiting other Americans to engage in violent jihad is just criminal, and it's not protected speech. They are yelling fire in a crowded theater. That's not protected by the First Amendment. Shut down their access to Twitter. Shut down any radical Islamists trying to engage in jihad so that we can protect Americans here. But then, in the Middle East, ISIS has recruiting centers, training centers, Western citizens with passports, sophisticated weapons and social media. We have got to empower our allies on the ground, the Kurds in Iraq, the Sunni in Iraq, not by sending weapons through Baghdad, but by arming, training, and supporting them directly. That's step number 1. And then, if need be, we have got to send in special operations to destroy those training centers, destroy those recruiting centers over there. No 10-year war, no nation building. Destroy their ability to attack us here over there so that we can be safe at home.
Yeah, one interesting note, while the debate was going on Thursday, Chuck Schumer comes out and says that he will vote no on the Iran deal. What was your observation on that? And do you think Congress will have a shot in reversing this?
The Iran deal is an abomination. Calling it a deal implies the United States got something. It seems to me that the #1 sponsor of terror, Iran, got everything. Forget about the nuclear weapons for a minute, which we can never do, but they will have $150 billion to continue to support their terrorist activities, not just in the Middle East, but around the world. Their #1 terrorist commander flies to meet with Putin. It's not to buy caviar. It's to buy missiles. It's to buy weapons. It's to buy weapons of terror to be used against America and our allies. I hope Congress votes this down, but if they don't, I can tell you, Maria, day 1, I will do everything in my power to make sure Iran never has a nuclear weapon, period.
That's certainly resonating with the American people because people are afraid. They don't know what this means, that Iran is now going to be seeing all this money, $150 billion once the sanctions are lifted. Let me get back to another issue that is certainly resonating with the American people, and that is wages, Governor. Wages have not moved in about 7 or 8 years. We continue to see the most recent jobs report on Friday show that wages were up 0.2% year over year. What is it going to take to actually move wages and have the average family out there actually feeling the impact of an economic recovery? Because they haven't felt it yet.
Absolutely, Maria. The biggest single impediment to a stronger economy is the federal government. I'll give you one example, Obamacare. How many millions, somewhere between 6 and 8 million Americans are working part-time who want to be working full-time because their employer doesn't want to come under Obamacare. We need better jobs. Our taxes on corporations are the highest in the developed world. I would lower that rate. And by the way, on manufacturing, Maria, we can make things in America. We have got to make things in America again. I would have the lowest taxes on manufacturers anywhere in the developed world. Let's have factories here, good paying jobs. You know, my 4 grandparents came here and worked in a factory. During college, over vacations, I worked in a factory. These are great jobs. We have a great workforce, entrepreneurs, venture capital. What we don't have is a government regulatory and tax climate that allows corporations to build factories here and compete. I will change that, and we will make things and have great jobs in America again. And by the way, Maria,
yep.
By the way, when I left as governor, we had the lowest unemployment rate in New York State since they started keeping records. We had over $24 billion in private sector investment in factories in upstate New York to make computer chips. We can do that in America.
Yeah, you know what? You've got some answers to some real solid questions and issues that America cares about. Let me just ask you about the money movement here, because on the debate stage, the second debate, you know, it was interesting to see that Donald Trump had given money to so many of the people on that stage. He also has given money to you and to the George Pataki campaign. How do you jive, you know, with that? The fact that he's given to Hillary, he's given to Nancy Pelosi, he's given to a lot of people, he's even given to you, Governor.
Well, he always said I was a great governor until I started attacking him. But what was appalling, among many of his other appalling comments about Megyn Kelly, about Mexicans, about our veterans, was how he was doing it to buy politicians. That's not a person we need as president. And Maria, I have to tell you, I was appalled at that debate that so few of my fellow running mates or candidates were willing to take on Donald Trump and say he is not qualified to be president of the United States. If you're not willing to stand up to Donald Trump, if you're afraid of him, how are you going to stand up to Putin or Ayatollah Khamenei? I asked them to denounce Donald Trump's candidacy. It is hurting the party and hurting our country.
All right, Governor, we'll be watching the developments. Good to have you on the program this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon.